Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 4 of the Raceface.pro GT3 Sprint Series right here at Zolder, a circuit that has got many people really excited. Can name a couple. Paul Fenter has said that he's looking forward to 2 nights of this racing. So has the likes of Janeman Price going and saying he quite enjoys Zolder. Others go and say that maybe just if they could fix the circuit a little bit, that would be appreciated. But out here in Zolder, it is going to be a proper run. Into turn 1, which is Estiarte, which is a left-hander to try and get it before you get to Starten Washabot. Do apologize if I got that wrong. The long right-hander with the double apex that you got to try and get yourself going into Blanchibot, which is another right-hander that tightens up. You got a short straight before you head out into a quick chicane. It's all about getting on the brakes a little bit early. Great maneuvering to get past your fellow competitors, but bear in mind you can run over the curbs and run into a world of hurt as well. So a lot of drivers are going to have to keep that. As they make their way through the long right-hander, they'll get into the Villeneuve chicane, that little chicane, we've seen guys outbrake themselves, dive across and score drive-through penalties. So penalties is going to be a major factor as they power their way through, getting to Baldersbach, where it's a sharp right-hander hairpin to go for. Being on the inside is quite helpful to get past your fellow competitors, but at the same time, it does compromise your drive on the way out. So lots of drivers will have to keep that in mind and think about what's going to work for their purpose before they head to Jackie Xbot, which is a fun little corner to go through, except if you got guys going through the pits. As drivers will be diving into the pits, they are on your racing line. They will have to accelerate a little bit harder, and you will then have to try and get around them. So bear in mind, this is going to change things up for our drivers out here tonight. 1 pit stop mandatory, 55 minutes of racing, and it is going to be an all-out slugfest. Couple of guys first jumping to our stands. I see we have got Bago saying how's it, Banzai Gaming saying how's it as well. So a couple of drivers going and supporting the fellow teams out on the live stream today, going into the spectator grandstands, and we'll be giving a bit of an outlook. Good to see you guys out there, which is absolutely tremendous fun. So ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, qualifying has started. So as we head down to the qualifying, and Tim the cameraman will be giving us the shots. Big thank you and a big shout out to Tim for all the years hard work, and also to Jim as well, who have been working frantically. So Tim and Jim, now you're going to get not as much love as you should, but thank you very much for all the hard work you put out there. So Zandvoort, very difficult circuit that you can either love it or hate it, and a lot of drivers will have to figure out what's going to work out for them, whether they're going to love it tonight or hate it. Being round 4 of the championship, it's going to be a difficult drive for everyone. So a couple of drivers have got out there. Conrad Volskig is battling out for the KSR team. Then you have got Jean Leroux along with Paul Fenter, Paul the Wall Fenter. Now no, he's no longer Paul the Wall Fenter. We'll now coin him Paul Pinky Toe Fenter after going and breaking his toe on his sim rig. You'll never live that one down. So Paul Pinky Toe Fenter. Eric Kirstein in 4th place. Daniel the Hitman de Villiers out there in 5th. And now away from the commentary box. He was here last week. He's back out on the circuit joining his fellow teammates. So is Cameron de Bastos going and joining. Shout out to those two. They did join in the commentary box last week. So Daniel de Villiers, Cameron de Bastos off the PWSR. Thank you very much. And good to have you guys around. Good to see them back out on the circuit as well. Tini and Kube out in 7th position. Tiernas Burta also out on the circuit. Altman Burta out in the big Bentley, trying to slow down, allow the guys to go. Kieran Patterson, Jason McGregor, Darren Miller as he comes across the line. Bernard van der Merwe along with Grant Sebastian, Hansi Myberg, who had a little bit of mic difficulty. Some say he got a frog in his throat. Others say that he got a bit of stage fright in driver's briefing. All I know is he's out on the circuit, so maybe he just didn't want to have a chat and got into the Stig mode at that point. I think that's more like it. Rob van der Heerde, Jaco Kutzer, Gerard Pretorius, Tyler Humphreys from the likes of Angry Racing. Good to see them out once again. Mario Senecal and Cabello Matsamai in the Cabello Motorsport AMG. Good to see the guys having a huge amount of fun out there. Also a variety of great names coming back to the world of sim racing, as well as looking to put up a bit of a fight. So Zandvoort, very difficult circuit. Let's see what the guys can do. Conrad putting in the fastest lap time of 1:29.1. Instantly gets beaten up by Jean Leroux. Paul Fenter tried coming at him with 29.3. So a couple of drivers putting in those quick lap times to start off. Daniel de Villiers going and firing back. He gets beaten up by Tinian Kube with 129.5, and then you got Daniel de Villiers 130, instantly loses out. Jaco Kutzer jumps in. So time starting to come in thick and fast for all the drivers to get themselves sorted out on this very technical circuit. You might think that it looks easy, but as I pointed out, track limits will become a problem. Cabello Matsamai putting himself into first place. Now keep an eye on Cabello. It's been a bit of a dark horse to go and watch in the races. Slowly but surely going and closing up on the field, which is great to see. Jean Leroux trying to make his way around. He's trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Conrad Volsink lying in third place at the moment. 0.4 up on his last lap time. He's hoping to get a bit closer. Paul Fenter going and losing our position as Jess McGregor puts in a great time in the little Honda. So McGregor going and fighting it out. Keep an eye on McGregor. He's one to have a great bit of fun out there and also puts in a bit of a fight. So as we saw at Barcelona, that little Honda is no easy feat. Bago going and saying, it's Zolder. Yes, it can be a Zolder problem quite quickly if you go and land up with those drive-through penalties for track limits, which I think you know very well in terms of running that extra bit of pace. We will see a mix of our Pro and Pro-Am drivers, and looks like some of our Am drivers have joined the party to make it a one setup, which is great to see. A good mix of cars, a good mix of drivers going and fighting it out, whether you're the fastest or the fast, or even the guys that are just going and enjoying yourself out there on the circuit, which is great to see. So, mix of skill levels, and even though you might not be fast, you have to last 55 minutes with one mandatory pit stop. Now, that does change it up in terms of strategy. How much can you save the tires? Zolder is really known for taking life out of the tires, as we see the cars coming over the chicanes. Going and knocking it around does cause a lot of tire wall flex, which starts impacting it. You can lose those PSIs quite quickly. I was actually having a chat to one of the drivers a little bit early on for ACC, and that was Conrad Martin that I had a chat with, and he said, the moment you start going and hitting those curbs, the first 10 minutes, you won't notice it. But come the later part of the race, when you start getting into those towards 40 minutes or even 30 minutes, you will start to realize that you're losing pressure in the tires. You start taking more and more of those impacts, and you will lose out the drive. You won't be able to continue it through. So taking up that little bit, I went and tested with Conrad Martin. He showed me over the curbs, and well, I can confirm it does impact you quite severely in the sim. You wouldn't think so, but they've made the tire model rather well to be able to do it. Conrad Volsink out in front with a 128.5 going and blasting his way through. Second place is Jean Leroux, that 128.7. Cabello down into third, trying to chase him down in the big Mercedes. Does look like the Mercedes has worked rather well with the new BOP this week. That's been brought in. Jess McGregor going and stopping. He's not able to get a better time. Eric Kirstein trying to get a little bit more of a run, and he saw Cabello bouncing that Merc through the corners. He's going and cutting it rather fine, and it does look like Eric Hostain as well, going and taking as much as the corners as possible. Gets a little bit of a tank slap, a little bit of a drop on the dirt. That is going to cost him a fair amount of time. Tyler Humphries also trying to get a little bit more of a run and get a little bit quicker. Then you've got Paul Fenter, who's making his way out around the circuit, going and leaning on the power a little bit to try and get himself going. Wasn't feeling well last week. A little bit of flu caught him out. And when I had a chat to Paul, he said he's still a little bit under the weather. Not 100% as yet, but he does want to keep up the hard push. He wants to keep on going and ensure that he can fight it out with the rest of the field. Hansi Myberg also, as I said, got a frog in his throat or got stage fright. Or maybe just went and clicked into Stig mode during driver's briefing. Wasn't able to talk. Darren Miller going and putting a good time. He gets into 10th place for the PWSR team. Do want to point out that Darren did have a terrible race at Barcelona, but didn't give up. He still crossed the line, saw the checkered flag no matter what, even with his teammates watching from the commentary box. So Miller hoping to have a better race this time out, but I tip my hat to a driver that, even though ran into a problem, will be concentrating on getting to the line. So I tip my hat to that. Daniel De Villiers and Paul Fenter, very close in lap times, 129.1 being the likes of Daniel De Villiers, and Paul Fenter with 129.3. So his lap time's starting to get closer and closer. Conrad Volskink, best lap time, 128.37. And John LaRue, 128.535. Paul Fenter goes and puts in a 128.750. Cabello Matamai, 128.8. Jason McGregor going with a 128.9. So close. Top 5 currently in those 128s, trying to push themselves a little bit harder. Eric Hostain trying to get a little bit momentum underneath him, and he's trying to push himself a little bit forward, which is good to see out there. Darren Miller trying to carve his way through the Porsche, arguing a little bit over the curbs, and that it will be starting to impact the time. Now, it's going to be interesting as Conrad Volskink up 0.2 of a lap this time around. Can he carry it through and ensure that he gets an even quicker time from his last one? Getting the power down, that Ferrari 296 powering its way through, and you have got one of the Lamborghinis behind going and running over the curbs a bit. I think that was Tini and Kube, who's getting a little bit unsteady. Yes, it is. Tini and Kube hoping to carry a bit of momentum from Monday night, where he participated in the Monday night racing, and looking to try and carry all that momentum, that positive attitude, and also great scoring points, especially into the sprint series. Paul Fenter up into 3rd place, going and putting himself onto the top row. Cabello Matamai currently 0.5 up on the rest of the field, so that Merc has come together somewhere. If he can carry the pace through, 0.5 will launch him into 1st place. Remember, this driver is in Pro-Am. He's not in Pro, but he's in Pro-Am. But it seems like being with our pro drivers has gone and elevated his game to get a bit quicker. 0.5 up, 0.6 as he comes across the line. Will it be enough? Yes, puts him into 1st place. And the first person to get a 127.9 as he comes across the line. So well done. Absolutely phenomenal stuff there. Conrad slower on his last lap, not able to make it. 4 minutes remaining, so the drivers need to try and get a little bit more of a run at them. Alton Buerta, 0.1 up on his last lap time. The Team Kerygma Racing Bentley powering his way through, and missing the corner by a million miles. Apex is back there, buddy. Looks like you're going to have to go fetch it. But with that sun setting, I don't blame him for missing the brake markers. Very, very difficult out there. And Team Kerygma going and, just landing into the dirt. Altman Buerta going a little bit different to the Team Kerygma Porsches that we've usually seen. So opting for the good old Bentley. Rob van der Heever just ahead of him. He's parked in the pits waiting to go out, and just eyeing out the times at the moment. Cameron de Bastos also up on his last lap time, tailing behind what looks to be one of his teammates. That might be Kieran Patterson ahead of him. Yes, it is. It's Kieran Patterson, just to get a little bit more of a tow, trying to pull himself along. And get himself out towards the front. Kieran's not coming off the throttle though, not backing out too much, and Cameron going in, opting, he's going to rather pull off to one side and gets himself back to the pits. A couple of the cars coming through. So that little jump to the pits would have caused one of our Ferraris to back out of it. But as it stands, Cabello Matamai, Conrad Volsking, Paul Fenter lying in third place, Jean Leroux in fourth, Cameron de Bastos in fifth, Jason McGregor down in sixth, Darren Miller in seventh, eighth is Daniel de Villiers, Tyler Humphreys down in ninth position, Eric Kirstein in 10th, Grant Sebastian up in 11th position, Jaco Kutza in 12th, 13th is Kieran Patterson. Not the run we've been expecting from Kieran this time round, but he said he hasn't had much time to practice in the car. This is a little bit of a arrive and drive moment for him, so he's going to just try and plod his way through and focus on the strategy at hand. So he's in 13th position. Was a bit slower on that last lap, quite well, no, actually he was faster on that last lap time. He did a 1:27.9, but due to an off track, that time wasn't counted. So that would have moved him up into first place. 1:27.912. That would have put him in first, but dropping a wheel on the dirt would have cost him that little bit of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, down in the description, you guys can go and keep an eye on all the live timing brought to you by Pitwall. And just feel free to click the link, go to Pitwall, look up Raceface, and you will have all the live timing for the sectors. So you can get behind your drivers, your favorite cars, and your favorite teams and see what they're doing out on the circuit. Also get to see what type of strategies the drivers and teams are going to be playing tonight of this long game of chess for sim racing. So keep that in mind as we got 1 minute to go. Couple of drivers opting to pull in the pits. They're not going to go out for this final minute. Grant Sebastian plowing his way through with the big Mercedes, getting a little bit squirrely, losing out. He was 0.2 up on his last lap time. Can't get the grunt down at the moment. And losing our position to Eric Kirstein. He puts himself into fourth position coming across the line. So let's see if Grant Sebastian, he's up 0.2 this time around. Got a car ahead of him, can use the slipstream of the PWSR Porsche just ahead. So Grant trying to carry the momentum through over the curb a little bit too far. Loses out that drive and still able to carry the lap time across. 1:28.452. Not enough to get ahead of Eric Kirstein. Paul Fenter, who was in third at one point, 0.1 up on his lap time. He is also trying to carry the momentum, dives through the chicane, bouncing left, right, and center. And let's see if he will be able to improve his lap time. Losing out right at the end, but the car that has stepped it up and put the fight in, Cabello Matamai out in first place, Kieran Patterson in second, Jean Leroux currently in third. A bit of a difference out in the front. And I've got to say, a beautiful shake-up of different drivers from what we used to seeing. So let's see how it's all going to turn out this evening with all the different drivers. It does look like everyone has stepped up their game. Cameron de Bastos currently 0.1 up. Jason McGregor currently 0.1 up. Will Jason McGregor be able to move up and get out of that 10th position? He puts himself into 8th. Paul Fenter comes across the line. He takes 7th place. Cameron de Bastos still trying to get a little bit more drive out of the McLaren. Will it be enough? No, he's down on his last time. Will it be coming across the line? He maintains it in 10th position. But our drivers will be starting to make their way to the pits. Get a bit of work done on the cars. Get those setups all sorted before we head on towards our race this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as time draws closer, it's going to be a proper run. And let's see how it's all going to work as they fighting out. So, down to our grid, ladies and gentlemen, and let's take a look who's sitting where. Kieran Patterson out in first place, Cabello Matsmai in second place, John LaRue currently in third, Conrad Folskink, Eric Kirstein, followed by Grant Sebastian, Jason McGregor, Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, Cameron de Bastos in 9th, 10th, Darren Miller, Tinian Kube in 11th, 12th, Tyler Humphreys, Jaco Kutza along with Tennis Buerta, Hansi Myberg, Gerard Pretorius along with Rob van der Heever, Bernard van der Merwe, Altman Buerta, and Mario Sinicol going and rounding out our grid as they lined up on the line. They've got a very short lap to try and get a bit of heat into these tires and brakes. Literally 3 corners to just get enough in the car before heavy braking into turn 1. And that is going to change it up a little bit as they fight their way through. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you're excited. Get ready for some action right here at Raceface.pro. And let us know what you're thinking out in the grandstands. Go and also let us know what the plans are for you guys. Who are you supporting? Which car are you behind for this race this evening? And I'm going to ask the very difficult question to everyone, is to go and ask their loved ones to subscribe to the channel. We at 996, so very, very close. I mean, a breath's way from hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark, and that is what we're aiming for. So we're up to 997. We're getting there slowly, very, very slowly. But like our drivers, they're heading into the corner slowly, side by side. Kieran Patterson, Cabello Matsumai will be heading towards the line ahead of the field. And as they line up, we're waiting for Jim to call green. Lined up, ready to go. 55 minutes of racing. And green lights, we're going racing. Kieran Patterson immediately trying to move across to stop Cabello around the outside. Does force Cabello out wide, and that does allow Cabello to get into the toe. Drive-through penalty coming for Conrad Folskink as he tries to lunge on the inside of Eric Kirstein. Side by side they go. Miller trying to get a little bit of a movement as well to get past his teammate Cameron de Bastos in the Porsche. So off to a great start, but out in front, Kieran Patterson, not very familiar with Cabello at this point, watching his mirror and saying, where on earth is this Mercedes getting the pace? Kieran now having to go defensive into the chicane. Gets it all sorted out. McLaren not looking as put together over the corners. And that is going to allow Cabello around the outside, getting the pace, gets on the throttle, clawing his way through, actively trying to go and slow down a little bit more, try and kill the pace of Kieran Patterson. John LaRue right behind, goes and loses it though, gets tank slapper, trying to bring it back. That allows Eric Kirstein to get by. Great save on LaRue's part, but has killed out his drive. Now Conrad Folskink trying to go around the outside, couldn't make it stick. He's got a drive through penalty, remember, so that is going to impact him. He's got Jason McGregor immediately on the back of him, trying to force a mistake. Jason McGregor feeling the pressure from Grant Sebastian, so it does look like the Mercedes have got a monstrous pace. Kieran Patterson dropping behind, and now trying to keep it all going. Conrad Folskink pulling into the pits. That is going to allow Eric Kirstein and John LaRue to make their way around the circuit. LaRue looks for the inside line. Couldn't get it all sorted. Jason McGregor holding up the pack at this point as he keeps Grant Sebastian at bay. Cameron de Bastos right on the tail of him. Daniel de Villiers and Darren Miller are fighting it out. It doesn't look like de Villiers is going to give Miller any room there as they make their way around the circuit. And that's forcing Miller to go around the outside. The Sasquatch not going to back down. And they've got Tyler Humphreys starting to close down the distance. Tyler working incredibly hard in that angry racing machine to close up to the Porsches just ahead of him. Does take a look to the inside a little bit too far. For it to work. Closes up under braking, and Miller now starting to feel that pressure closing on. Back up into our battle for third place, so Kirstein running over the curbs a little bit too much there. LaRue as well joining him, getting a little bit sucked in at the moment, and that is going to drop him down the order. He's got to be so careful with moves like that. It's just Oh, you don't want to push too hard too early. You want to focus on the charge as they fight their way through. Jason McGregor and Grant Sebastian immediately onto the back of him, trying to push a little bit harder. Cameron de Bastos working it as hard as he can. So out in front, Cabello Matsmai taking first place. Kieran Patterson currently in second. Eric Kirstein in third. Jean Leroux in fourth. Fifth is Jason McGregor. Grant Sebastian, Cameron de Bastos, Daniel de Villiers in 8th. 9th is Darren Miller. Tyler Humphreys in 10th. 11th is Tienes Buerta. Tini Nkube up into 12th. 13th is Jaco Kutzer. Jared Pretorius. And it does look like we've got Paul Fenter actually losing a bit of pace as Altman Buerta comes side by side. So Buerta getting a little bit of pace in the big mighty Bentley. Couple of drivers pulling into the pits. Bernard van Merwe currently in 17th. Went in inherited positions from Hansi Myberg, Mario Circle, Rob van der Heever, and Conrad Volskink has finally come out from serving his stop and has done a pit stop, but will also have to do that drive through. So it's a long run for him. He will be serving it. It looks like Mario trying to get out as well. So, as they fight their way through, it is going to be a monumental run down to the wire for our drivers. 50 minutes of racing left around Zolder, and for anyone that does know Zolder, knows how tricky this circuit truly can become and how it can affect your race. One mistake, one wrong look will throw you out and land you into the dirt. And just taking a look for the guys that have subscribed, big thank you to Hansi Myberg with a stop-go 30-second penalty. So obviously Stig mode did not engage properly and has gone off the end of a airship carrier. So we're up to 999 subscribers. So this is close to hitting the mark. Super close for that 1,000 subscriber mark. Daniel de Villiers going and forcing Darren Miller out wide. That's allowed Tyler Humphreys to come around him. The two WSR cars fighting it out. Daniel de Villiers and Miller immediately onto the back of him, trying to push as hard as he can to get that little bit of momentum. Tienes Buerta also coming back. Miller trying to put a bit more of a fight. Cameron de Bastos getting ahead, but Daniel de Villiers also defending as much as he can as Buerta looks to go around the outside. He's on the marbles. This is not going to help out under braking. Tries to go for the inside line. Gets closed off right behind Miller. Miller not going to back out of this. That does allow Tienes Buerta to lose a bit of drive. And now it's got Tini Nkube immediately onto the back of him. So Nkube now pushing as hard as he can to close down the distance and get a little bit closer to the fight. Proper runs from the drivers. And Nkube has put his foot down and has closed down the distance onto the back of the train. Good to see him out there, but Hansi Myberg with that stop-go 30-second penalty will be kicking himself good and proper at this point. So rather unfortunate in that regard. Grant Sebastian, though, on the back of Jason McGregor. He's trying to force a mistake out of the little Honda. The big Mercedes looking rather menacing behind the Honda. Something that we are not too familiar with here in South Africa, seeing both these cars duking it out. The Honda not very loved compared to most. And this time around, a couple of drivers have decided to go for it. And Cameron de Bastos also looming in the background, waiting for Jason McGregor and Grant Sebastian to have a good go at one another to drop down the pace. McGregor bouncing over the curbs once again, just battling to get that car into check. Now, what we have noticed is the front engines, like the Mercedes, the BMW, and the Aston Martins, also can't take away from the Bentley. Very good over the curbs. They can run over those curbs, not a problem. The more the mid-engines get a little bit more unsettled and lose out the drive. So they have to be very cautious of battling their way around. But we're starting to get into that phase now of who's going to be able to move forward. Paul Fenter getting ahead, and does look like Jared Pretorius. He's also a little bit slow that time around. I did see yellow flags, and let's see if we can go back roughly about 30 seconds, see what happened for him. Hopefully I didn't break the system. Nope, I didn't. Comes out of the corner, hooking the chicane. I think that's where the yellow flag came in, and this is where Paul Fenter made very quick work of that Ferrari 296. just not able to get the braking. Oh, sideways, loses the tail, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Paul Fenter saying thank you very much, just leading on the pressure, was able to get it going once again. So, a couple of drivers looking to move forward. Tianis Buerta also running into a bit of issues. He drops down the order, and now has Paul Fenter trying to go around the inside of him, under braking. Buerta not going to be able to fight it out. I think he has got a problem with his tyres. We're going to jump back 30 seconds to see what happened. Oh, just dropping a wheel over the curb, having that edge go and kick out the rear of the McLaren, not able to put it all together. And what a monstrous charge. Oh, 999 subscribers to the channel. Big thank you to everyone that's making it absolutely possible. We're so close to that 1,000 mark, and well, it is going to be a milestone towards the end of the year. So for everyone out in the grandstands, feel free, share it out, get your friends to join in all the action. Come watch the racing here for sim racing and be a part of the amazing action out here at Raceface.pro, and make a Christmas wish come true of myself, and I'm being selfish on this one, to have 1,000 subscribers, because that does mean a lot. Managed to get there with the help of every single one of you, including our teams and our drivers making all the content coming out. Tini and Kube, though, trying to catch up, but does lose out drive to Jaco Kutzer. Jaco trying to get a little bit closer. Darren Miller, though, going after his teammate Daniel de Villiers, and Darren Miller look like they're not running to any team orders tonight. They are on a monstrous charge to get one up of who's going to be able to climb their way through the ladder at this point, and it's not going to be an easy one. It is an all-out drive, and well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to just point out some massive news just received from Jim, saying that we have officially hit 1,000 subscribers right here at Raceface.pro. Raceface has now gotten the milestone of 1,000 subscribers to be part of the channel. My heavens, what a run, and what a race to do it on. 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to every single one of you that have subscribed, that's part of this. All the drivers, the teams, the spectators. We've hit that milestone. It's been asked for not by only myself, it's been asked for by many of our past commentators, whether it's Alan Patterson, George G. Max, Janneman Price, and so many others that have joined in. Reginald has also come in, going and asking, can we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark? And tonight, at 4 minutes past 9, we have officially done it. We have hit the milestone. Wow. Absolutely incredible stuff. As we see Jason McGregor and Grant Sebastian going at one another. Sorry, I'm still trying to get over the high that we've just hit this milestone. Yes, we've got some exciting racing out on the circuit, but this is why we go and join in with the Raceface.pro to see some of the exciting racing. And for myself, it's a bit of a mark in the history, a feather in the cap at this point. As we see Daniel de Villiers and Tyler Humphries going and battling it out. Side by side they go. And what a proper run. This is going to be a proper run between our Porsches. Daniel de Villiers getting the jump. He was fighting out with Miller, but now he's got Humphries right between the two of them. So the PWSR cars a little bit sandwiched. Tini and Kube dealing with Jaco Kutzer right behind. But Tyler Humphries, that angry Porsche, now starting to lose out a little bit of drive. Will be focusing on what he can do to gain a little bit of time. Tini and Kube has got Jaco Kutzer right on the back of him, pushing incredibly hard up the rear gearbox of Tini and Kube as they carry the pace down the straight. Miller doing everything he can to get a little bit more of a toe. He's losing that little bit of drive to Humphries and de Villiers. Remember, they're all in Porsches, so they got a bit of an understanding of when that pit stop is going to happen. Remember, the way for a pit stop to count is you have to put at least 1 liter of fuel. Tires are optional. And when you're in the same machinery as your competitor, yes, setups may differ, but you can start working out a strategy closer to your competitors and close that gap down. You can start to think, okay, do I get to the halfway mark? Do I go beyond it? How far can I go in? Or do I go a little bit earlier? As Humphrey's bouncing his way over the curb, Daniel de Villiers a little bit more settled there. And now Miller starting to close down the distance as well. So absolutely tremendous stuff right here for the Raceface.pro GT3 Sprint Series Round 4 here at Zolder for Season 11. And tonight marks a historic night in Raceface.pro where we have hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. A channel that started way back, I think closer to 2014, that has been producing racing out the whole time, has finally reached it. And I can tell you that's going to make a lot of people really happy. And wow, thank you. That's all I could say is thank you very much. I don't know what to say at this point. I'm a little bit taken back by that. It's been some hard work, blood, sweat and tears on all parts, but to see a growth of a channel like that is really great, and to be a part of the history on that, gotta say, exciting, rather exciting. Daniel de Villiers, Tyler Humphreys battling out. They are going side by side. Couldn't make it all work. Darren Miller trying to go and get a little bit closer. Tini and Kube immediately on the back of him. And one thing we do have for the drivers, and this goes out to the drivers that are watching. I can see you guys. 31 views are currently watching out from the grandstands. You guys, I would like to have at least one of the drivers come through and come to the commentary box, talk about the racing, give a little bit of thoughts of the racing, but also to just live this moment as we've hit that subscriber mark, which is tremendous, absolutely tremendous. A couple of interesting things happening. Paul Fenter has done his pit stop, but, and I say this with a big but, as he pulls into the pits, he needs to get 1 liter in that car as quick as he can and get ahead of Conrad Fullskink at the moment, who's battling it out. So Conrad trying to make his way around, catch up to JR Pretorius. Remember, he has done 1 drive-through penalty. It does take a fair amount of time in the pits. It takes roughly about 34 seconds in and out, so the drivers will have to bear that in mind when they're working out their spacing between everyone. Tini Kube really running out to the fringes of the circuit at the moment as he tries to get on the back of Miller and fighting his way through the order. So some proper racing. Paul Fenter going and getting out, and it looks like he may get out ahead of Conrad Fullskink. Has he done enough? Yes, he has done enough to get out, and that will put him into a net first at the moment. Had to do a second pit stop because the first pit stop didn't count because he wasn't quite in the pit box. Red lines, my friend, red lines. Follow the box, fit the box. Don't be the guy trying to put the triangle in the square or in the circle hole. Doesn't quite work. All about the fun. Daniel de Villiers, Tyler Humphreys going back and forth at one another as they come launching their way around, properly closing down on the battle. So Daniel de Villiers trying to get ahead. Tyler Humphreys immediately onto the back of him, pushing as hard as he can to close down the distance as they fight their way through. Right here at Zolder, 38 minutes to go. Cabello Matamai currently leading out, bounces over the curb, very unstable this time around, and I think commentator's curse got a little bit too close for comfort there. Kieran Patterson was hoping for commentator's curse to come in. He's currently lying in second place. Eric Kirstein in third. Jean Leroux currently out in fourth. Jason McGregor trying to close down the distance. Grant Sebastian, Cameron de Bastos, Daniel the Hitman de Villiers defending like his life is on the line against Tyler Humphries. A debut run last week, now putting in a great show for the Angry Racing team. Darren Miller going in, closing down. He's in the top 10. Tini and Kuba in 11th position, followed by Jaco Kutza, Altman Buerta, Tiernis Buerta closing down onto the back of that Bentley, trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him, not able to get it right. Gerard Pretorius out in 15th. 16th is Paul Fenter. And 17th, Conrad Filsking, followed by Bernard van der Merwe, Mario Senecal, Rob van der Heever, and Hansi Myberg rounding out the back at the moment. It is a proper run for our drivers as they battle their way through. LaRue trying to look for the inside of Eric Costain, not getting it right. And it is going to be a proper little run between them as they make their way around the circuit. LaRue doing everything he can to try and battle it out. As they make their way around Zolder. Not going to be an easy run for our drivers. Costain defending that inside line, not backing down from the fight. As they power their way through. It is going to be a very close battle between them. Both are trying to figure out what's going to work, and I've been doing a little bit of calculations in the back here, see where exactly the guys are going to pit. Most of the drivers will be able to make it down to the last 15 minutes, and will have to try and power his way through. As we see LaRue starting to lose that little bit of drive as they maneuver their way around. Eric Costain running out wide, losing the drive. It is going to be a close run between these two, and there's one person that I'm trying to get to the commentary box, and frantically trying at this point to get to the commentary box because I think he needs to see it. Needs to definitely see it. Altman Buerta, Gerard Pretorius, and it does look like Eric Costain and Jason McGregor have come to blows. Has the two Hybrid Academy cars come to blows with one another? Let's go back about 30 seconds and see what happened. That is Eric Costain, and you can see McGregor in the Honda in the background. Does Costain get it all out of shape? Yes, he does. Gets a bit of a tank slapper, comes across, and McGregor also losing it. So no contact between the two, but McGregor repeating the same mistake. And that cost them both some serious, valuable time. Cameron de Bastos closing up behind Eric Costain, doing everything he can to battle it out. This is going to be a proper bit of work. Jean-Ray Buerta jumping in. He's going and shouting out to Altman Buerta in the big Bentley, powering his way through. So the team Kerygma Racing going and cheering on the big Bentley to close down on Gerard Pretorius just ahead of him. But closest battle out on circuit is 8th and 7th position, with Tyler Humphries in 8th, Daniel de Villiers in 7th position, powering his way through, trying to do everything he can to make it all together, and it is going to be a proper run between them. Not quite sure how it's all going to work as they get closer and closer. Tires starting to wear down severely on both cars, and this is going to be a proper little run as our drivers power their way through to the wire. And it does look like Daniel de Villiers is able to carry the momentum. Tyler Humphries doing everything he can to just try get onto the back of that car. Now, he is in a prime position to Daniel de Villiers, where he can actually react. If Daniel dives into the pits, he can follow suit. But he can also overcut a driver. Keeping in mind, Paul Fenter is currently in a net first place. Has lost out a lot of time with that second pit stop, but is up to 15th position. Is on the charge. So the LNR Racing going and having a bit of fun out there. And Paul Pinky Toe Fenter not backing down from the fight at this point. Doing a phenomenal job. And has put himself in a key spot to close up a few positions. I don't think that top 10 is close enough just as yet, but it's not. But joining me in the box is someone I really wanted to chat to. Twisted his arm, eventually got it, is Bertus Hugo. Bertus, now before you click on my screen, bear in mind, when did Raceface start?
Hi Stephen, it started in 2018.
2018. Okay, so I was 4 years off. It started in 2018 with a bunch of friends all going and having a bit of fun on servers. Am I correct in saying this?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right, yes.
Also, the live streaming was from point of view of the drivers that could at the time. Correct.
At the time, yes, until 2020 when we started with, or actually the end of 2019 when we started with live streaming and commentary. G-Max was still in the box at the time.
Yeah, George G-Max, been out there. Others that preceded, Alan Patterson, Janneman Price, Reginald, all coming to it. But, Bertus, click on the screen, see what I'm showing you under channel analytics, because you want to see this, buddy. And this is to everyone in the spectators, every one of the drivers, every one of the teams. We have hit the milestone 1,001 subscribers from 2018 till 2023 at 4 minutes past 9. Everyone out there made it happen. And take us through your thoughts of just taking a look at that, knowing from where you started and where Raceface started till now.
All I can say is thanks to the community, thanks to all the drivers, thanks to all the teams, thanks to everyone supporting Raceface through the years. Yeah, this is a big milestone. I also see 20,000 watch hours. That's also crazy. So yeah, thanks so much to everyone. Yeah, we've been working hard for this one. So thanks, and thanks Stephen. I mean, without the Stephen, Alan, G-Max, everyone who did streaming for us, we helped to build the channel. Yeah, without a live stream, there's no subscribers. So that's very cool.
So, yeah, I know I pulled you away from work. I know that it was a little bit of a frantic and thinking that something is terribly wrong. But what's terribly wrong is the channel's hit 1,000 subscribers.
I thought a server crashed or something, but yeah, this is very cool. Thanks, Stephen.
So, yeah, hopefully that makes your evening. I know you've been going through a bit of a rough time. And Raceface has also had its to and fro's that have been going on, but ultimately hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark for a channel out on YouTube nowadays, especially, I do want to point out, an esport channel mainly focused on sim racing. So it hasn't got broader horizons of any first-person shooters. It is a very niche focus, able to get that. And just a thank you out to the community for making that happen. And I wanted the head of Raceface, the CEO, if I can call you that, just to put out the words there before you have to go back to work.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, thanks again. Thanks to everyone, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the race. I'll join you guys again, but yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Bertus. So great one out there, and could hear a little bit of a smile on that face. And not sinking in right at this moment, but you can be sure that it will sink in a little bit later, seeing a little close down. But what is going to be sinking in is Cabello Matamai getting himself into the pits and out. He's ahead of Paul Fenter. He's up into 11th position, getting past Tiernas Buerta. Now has got his focus on to Tini and Kube ahead. So he's been doing some great lap times out there. 1:28.1 has been his quickest lap time. He is now first of everyone that has done the pit stops. Kieran Patterson, though, trying to go for the overcut, is going to go and make a bit of a difference here and hope to overshoot everyone. And this is going to be a proper run. Devon Ellis saying, who's doing a rain dance? Well, if you wait a couple of weeks for iRacing, we'll bring it in for a Formula Ford. So you can go and you can land up with a rain dance. I think none of our GT3s out here want to see a rain around Zolder as they fight their way through Tiernas Buerta, getting into the toe of Cabello Matamai. They are fighting for position at the moment, but unable to fight it out too much as Tiernas Buerta will be needing to pull into the pits where Cabello has done his pit stop. Devon, actually one of the drivers, got to say a shout out from the Raceface side of things as a good luck, will be representing South Africa in the Britcar 24-hour for 2023, a second ever running of Britcar 24-hour officially recognized. He is going to be the third driver in the team to go out and represent. So shout out to him. That's in 2 weeks time. He's practicing with the Aston Martin GT4, a little bit different to the cars currently out in circuit, the baby versions you can call it. As Cabello getting a little bit sideways, we did see one of our Ferraris getting it all sorts of wrong at the moment, but time starting to close down. 26 minutes ago, Kieran Patterson out in first place, Jean Leroux out in second, third place, Grant Sebastian, Eric Kirstein, Cameron de Bastos, Daniel de Villiers, Tyler Humphries, Darren Miller, Jason McGregor. Tini and Kube is going and fighting his way through, trying to keep ahead of Cabello Matamai. He's watching those review mirrors as Cabello is on a hot charge at the moment. Tiernas Buerta down in 12th, 13th position. Gerard Pretorius, who's been having a little bit of a rough race at the moment, getting twisted around. And then you have got Paul, the pinky toe Fenter, in 14th place. 15th is Conrad Volskink, runs over the curbs a little bit. That is going to hurt his drive. Altman Buerta from Team Kerygma. He is fighting out with Jaco Hutze of Team Tryhard. That's right up his rear bumper at the moment, trying to get underneath that spoiler and utilize a little bit of straight line, but the Bentley just a little bit too stable at the moment to get past and can brake a fraction later. As saying that, Kutzer is going and deciding that he's going to get a little bit closer to that fight. Bernard from Van der Merwe in 18th, 19th, Mario Senecal and Rob van der Heerden going and fighting it out towards the end of the field, who's also been just having a rough race this time around, not getting that Ferrari all hooked up as much as he wants. The curbs not being his friend. A little bit of a bottoming out as we saw him going through the last chicane. Cameron de Bastos and Daniel de Villiers, two chaps that stepped up into the commentary box, now back out on circuit. Cameron said that he will take the fight to Daniel and ensure that he gets ahead no matter what it is. And Daniel said, bring it on. I'm going to go for you and put you in your place. And that is what he's trying to do at the moment, as he closes down on Cameron de Bastos. He was quicker in that last lap. Cameron de Bastos doing a 1:30.1 with Daniel de Villiers a 1:29.98. And it does look like Daniel going and cutting the curb a little bit much, going and hurting those rear tires a little bit more. Tyler Humphries trying to close down onto the back of him and put in a proper little fight. Under braking, closes up onto the back of the McLaren. He's a little bit more stable this time around. Oh, and saying that, he gets a tank slapper. Commentator's curse is real, and Daniel wants to be well off that car. I can see it because Tyler Humphries is doing everything he can to try and close down Darren Miller a little bit further back, watching his teammates at this point, going to be focusing on the drive. Still a couple of cars needing to pit. Kieran Patterson out in first, Jean Leroux, along with Grant Sebastian, Eric Kirstein, Cameron de Bastos, Daniel de Villiers, Tyler Humphries, Darren Miller, Jason McGregor, and Tini and Kube are within that top 10, needing to pit at the moment, with Cabello Matamai currently in 11th position, doing a stellar job. Taking a look at who's gained, who's lost, well, let's go through it. Cameron de Bastos has gained 5 positions. Tyler Humphries gained 6 positions, so he's up on that one. That is our highest climb at the moment, so Tyler going up 6 position. biggest loss, though, does go to Conrad Volskenk. Remember, he did suffer the drive-through penalty that did impact his race and causing him to lose out a lot of drive through the race. So he's now on a little bit of a rescue mission to try and score some valuable points this evening right here at Raceface.pro for the GT3 Sprint Series. Round 4, Season 11. And gotta say, proper fun. 22 minutes to go, though, and anything can happen. As Kutza and Butner land up coming together, they played the tango, and now stuck on a little bit of a blind bend. Both of them trying to correct themselves. Let's actually take a look. Kutza tailing up behind. Gets very close to the back of the Bentley as they got onto the back of Jean Leroux. Kutza over the curb. A little bit too excited. Does drop back. I think maybe under braking. He's come to blows with one another. And this is going to be... Oh, there we go. There's a little bit of contact between the two. And... all the drivers having to take evasive maneuvers at this point, being very cautious to land up, sticking out the way of the incoming action. But what a race it has been so far. Mainly focused down to strategy and what tires are going to look like towards the end of the race. I do feel that closer to the end of the race, we will see the position starting to switch up quite a bit. At the moment, there is significant gaps between drivers as they just trying to get themselves a little bit more put together. Closest battle out on circuit is between Cameron de Bastos, Daniel de Villiers, and Tyler Humphries. And Cameron de Bastos not backing out over the curbs, losing out quite a bit. And then you have got Daniel de Villiers. So the Bentley has lost a little bit of drive, going and spinning out after a little bit of a song and dance with Jaco Kutza. Both of them sliding out and having to get themselves going. So proper little bit of fun between our drivers. And it does look like Conrad Volskenk coming across. He gets ahead of Tianis Burta, who's decided to get into the pits. Gerard Pretorius also in a world of hurts at the moment, up in 12th, that will need to pit. And it'll be sooner than later that will be going through the mind at the moment as they fight their way through. So, that being said, it is turning into one heck of a race. Let's actually go back to the start of the race and go to Tim in the heli to see what turn 1 looked like, especially towards the middle of the field where our drivers were battling it out 3 wide. You can see Cameron de Bastos, Daniel de Villiers going at one another. Darren Miller tries to go Cameron de Bastos side by side 3 wide into turn 1. Grant Sebastian getting the worst of it, dropping down the order and goes late, lunging on the brake. So a couple of drivers having to really work their way through turn 1 and turn 2. Putting the power down. Daniel de Villiers, though, catching up. Has caught up to Cameron de Bastos. He's 1.5 seconds behind, 1.8 now. Losing out just before the braking zone and losing that little bit of drive. So Cameron de Bastos now looking to try and pull away from his fellow teammates. Conrad Volskenk, though, does get a yellow flag. And I think maybe, just maybe, he got a little bit out of shape. Let's go back about 30 seconds and see what that car looked like through the chicane. And actually jump into the helmet cam. Hard under the braking, cloudy day, looking a little bit darker and ominous as he tries to get a little bit more drive. Very close to the outskirts of the circuit, really pushing as hard as he can at the moment before climbing on the anchors. Dives to the left-hand side, over the curbs. Another one, looks okay there. And I think just wearing and flirting with those track limits at the moment, as he tries to close down on Paul Fenter, who's actually closed down to Gerard Pretorius at the moment. Paul Fenter currently lying in a second of everyone that's done our pit stops, but I don't think will be second in the race at this point. So he's going to have to bear that in mind of focusing on the charge as he claws his way through the logistical nightmare racing, going and trying to keep it all together right here at Zolder, and after a recovery of being a little bit ill. Car that we haven't spoken much about, 2 cars. There's Bernard van der Merwe and Mario Senecal. These two are battling it out, having a fantastic run. Absolutely tremendous stuff. Bernard going and trying to make a little bit of run. Mario Senecal right behind him, doing everything he can. Dirk Herbert going and jumping in, saying absolutely tremendous to have that 1,000 subscribe mark. And Dope, feel free to come over to the commentary box. It would be nice to hear from you. For anyone that doesn't know Dirk Herbert, he actually helps with the iRacing part of Raceface.pro. Also did do a bit of broadcasting for Raceface.pro as well. So one of our commentators have come through the box, and also driver and team owner of Team Tryhard. So Dave, if you want to say any words, feel free, come through. It'd be an honor to have you, as you're part of the history that made this all possible right here at Raceface.pro. Gotta give credit where credit's due. Warning, Doe is a little bit slow. He's a bit slow in driving. That's why he passes it over to the rest of the drivers. As he's keeping an eye on his team. Paul Fenter, though, right onto the back of Gerard Pretorius. I think he's going to make quick work of Gerard, because Gerard is running about a second slower than Paul Fenter. But even though he's a little bit slower, he will be making it rather difficult. Gerard Pretorius actually not making it difficult. Pulls into the pits. He's going to get past. And now we've got Cabello Matsumai diving up on the inside of Tini and Kube not going to back out of it. Will go around the outside, driving a fantastic line at this point. Cabello immediately right up his gearbox, trying to push as hard as he can. And now Tini and Kube going to go defensive, hold the defensive line through the chicane, gets a bounce, gets it sideways, loses out. Cabello with a very, very slight nudge as he had to come off the gas, and that would have gone and opened up his eyes a little bit bigger than planned. Definitely not what you want to see. And this is from Tini and Kube. Let's see if we can get to what Cabello's view looks like. There we go. Cabello's helmet cam. You can see how close this actually became to ending his race. Down into second gear. Tini and Kube bouncing around. And you could see how he had to slam on the anchors there. And bottoming out that load cell pedal as hard as possible to just ensure that he slows down enough to allow Nkube to go. And I think Nkube also just remained on the power to try and move himself off the racing line as quick as possible, just to say, look, I don't want to get in the way, especially now that I have no control. The best thing I can do is either stand on the gas or get out the way. But he has pulled in the pits, those tires saying enough is enough on them, and are going to be signaling the run out. So, Tyler Humphries got Darren Miller starting to close down. 15 minutes and 20 seconds left of the race. And Kieran Patterson still leading out the charge. Jean Leroux out in second place. Grant Sebastian lying in third. Fourth place is Eric Kirstein, Cameron de Bastos, Daniel de Villiers, Tyler Humphries, Darren Miller, Cabello Matsumai, Jason McGregor, Paul Fenter out of the circuit in 11th place. Conrad Fulskin comes across the line. He's going to drop Tini and Kube down into 13th. Will Pretorius come out ahead of him? I don't think so. He minds out of the way. For that looks to be Kirstein that was getting around him. Lying on of the Hybrid Academy Ferraris to get past. And the Conquest Racing not looking to get too involved in any battles at the moment. He knows where his fight is. Trying to close down on Nkube, but it looks like Nkube got out in 13th. 14th is Gerard Pretorius. Tiernas Buerta, though, has got the charge. He's closed right onto the back of Gerard Pretorius, so he is really trying to get a little bit more pace. He's got Cameron de Bastos closing down at a rate of knots. The sun starting to set, those lights starting to shine bright. Time starting to run out in this 55-minute sprint race with one mandatory pit stop. Couple of drivers still need to do it. At least we have got 9 drivers needing to do their final pit stop. Now, we did say into the final 20 minutes we're going to be starting to see it. Looks like it's going to be under the 15-minute mark. And what we have seen from the past is drivers are able to push that a little bit further. They get that one lap in, that last minute, dive into the pits, get it sorted, get out to try and minimize as much time loss as possible. They have to go and get that pit stop done and dusted. Tiernas Buerta right on the back of Gerard Pretorius, doing everything he can, looks for the inside line, couldn't get it sorted. The Conquest Racing now having to get a little bit elbows out racing to keep the likes of Tiernas Buerta of the Hybrid Academy team behind him. Gets a much better drive. That Ferrari a little bit better than the McLaren on the exit, but losing out in a straight line, just having maybe a little bit too much downforce, and that is impacting the straight line speed at this point, and that does allow Cameron DeBastos, who's closed up onto this. He will be trying to figure out how to get past these two as quick as possible. Blue flags rules coming out, and for anyone that isn't too familiar with blue flags, it's not like Formula 1 where you got 3 corners to dive out the way. No. You have to try, as the faster car, pass the slower cars in a safe manner. The slower cars, well, the back markers that are getting blue flagged, will have to go and try and maintain, well, they will have to maintain their line. They are not allowed to make erratic movements. They cannot defend from when you go for the pass. But in this case, Cameron DeBastos is losing the time. Pretorius running out wide, loses out the drive. That allows Tianis Buerta to come by, and Cameron DeBastos also making quick work of it, putting the space between himself, and that looks to be Daniel de Villiers going and flashing his lights, saying, I'm coming through. Pretorius runs out wide, goes into the dirt, and trying to take evasive action, and that did cost him a fair amount of time. Watch those review mirrors, landed up with a bit of a problem, and that puts Daniel de Villiers a little bit closer, but has lost out roughly 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second on Cameron DeBastos, as we see that looks to be Tianis Buerta going and hustling Cameron DeBastos a little bit. So Buerta doing everything he can. He's trying to close up to Tini and Kube. So at the moment, Cameron DeBastos is running in 5th position. Tianis Buerta currently in 14th, trying to hustle him along, saying, listen, now that you've gotten past me, best get going, buddy. You need to step on the gas. Otherwise, we're going to run into a little bit of an issue here. Darren Miller out in 8th place is one of our closest battles to Tyler Humphries of Angry Racing. Miller trying to close down the gap between them. Proper run between them all. Jason McGregor still needing to do that pit stop. Lying in 10th position. Is in a world of hurt at the moment because Cabello Matsumai has put himself into 9th. Cabello has a chance here. It's slim. It's very slim. He can put himself into at least 2nd position out on the circuit if he keeps his drive as it stands. So, Cabello Matsumai out in 9th. This Mercedes AMG will have to really step on the gas. Will really have to push as hard as he can to close down the distance. And, well, if you're going to make some sweet music, best make it victory music at this point, because you're going to hold the silver if you can keep it together. So, Cabello needs to just tuck in, get into the fight. Darren Miller, on the other hand, he's going after Tyler Humphries. Now, Miller, who had a rough run in Barcelona, has found his 2nd wind and now has closed down and is in the top 10, looking at that 7th position just ahead of him. The other Porsche just ahead of him. Remember, Miller and Humphries still need to go and do their pit stop. They still need to get that pit stop out and get it done. The PWSR team will be frantically looking of what they can do. The Angry Racing team as well, going through the data, saying, right, what do we need to do to ensure that we stay at the top here? We need to push a little bit harder. How can we hold Miller at bay? How can we hold station or get better? We don't want to go down. We know Cabello is coming, and we want to ensure a fair amount of spacing between it. Conrad Volsking, though, also going and getting it sideways, drops over the curb, not having a good run out there. He's really been fighting out, currently lying in 12th position. He is one of 2 drivers that have actually done pit stops, 2 pit stops. Paul Fenter missing out his first pit stop, wasn't in the box completely correct, and that has cost him time. Conrad Volsking going in 12th at the moment. So I think Paul is going to have something to chat about on Friday of going and missing the red lines. It's not like you can, it's rather obvious and very luminous, but sometimes in the moment, heat of the moment, you just get it in at the wrong angle, you hook it in, and unfortunately just doesn't count as a pit stop. Can happen to the best of the best. We have seen the whiteheads of sim racing, the Jordan Sherritts of sim racing, David Perrells, all making those type of mistakes. The likes of the Jardiers, also, same thing. Just not having the car correctly in the box will cost him time, and it's so easy to do. It's hard to miss the box, but at the time you're so frantic with everything else, trying to set your pit stop up, trying to make sure that your tire pressures are a-okay, and that you just go slightly at an angle. I mean ever so slightly. They have to jack the car up, move it back in, drop it down, then pick it back up, put fuel in it, and get you back out. So that little bit of time can cost you a lot. Miller, though, on the charge. Tyler Humphries just ahead of him, trying to make up a bit of time. 7 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Kieran Patterson out in first place, still needing to do a pit stop. Jean Leroux out in second place. Grant Sebastian in third. Eric Kirstein in fourth. Cameron de Bastos in fifth. Daniel de Villiers in sixth. So the hitman still on a charge here. Tyler Humphries trying to get away from Darren Miller, who has got a bit between his teeth. He's got a chip on the shoulder, and he is going to put up the fight. Cabello Batsmai down in 9th position at the moment and climbing. Jason McGregor down in 10th with Paul Venter, Conrad Forsking, Tinian Kube, Tiernas Buerta, Jared Pretorius, Jaco Kutzer, Altman Buerta, Bernard van der Merwe, Mario Senecal, and Rob van der Heerve rounding out our field. Tyler Humphries, though, getting ahead of Miller. Miller going and opting. He's going to get his pit stop out of the way. Try get out as quick as possible. Will lose out of position to Cabello, but is aiming to keep ahead of Paul Venter at this point. Cabello going and inheriting that 8th position without putting too much of a fight. And now will be on the charge. He's right behind Jaco Kutzer at the moment. Jaco not backing out of the fight. Jason McGregor coming across. He takes that 9th place away from Miller. Miller still trying to get himself going. A little bit of a burnout as he's pushing as hard as he can, because here comes Paul Venter. And this is going to be close between the two of them. I do think Paul Venter does get ahead. So Paul Venter up into that top 10. And Miller just couldn't get it out the box fast enough to get himself into that top 10. Will be looking to try and close down the distance, but this does leave a bit of an interesting taste for everyone, as Jason McGregor still needs to do a pit stop. He's in 9th position. He will drop down, but Paul Venter is in 10th position, 13 seconds behind Jason McGregor, so he will be able to make a bit of a move there. Eric Kirstein pulling into the pits. That's going to allow the likes of Grant Sebastian, Daniel de Villiers trying to get into the fight. Tyler Humphries reacting to this fight as well. He pulls into the pits, so couple of cars getting themselves in. Cameron de Bastos, he's going to stretch those legs out as far as he can at this point. Miller, though, runs off the circuit. Tires still not up to scratch. Maybe actually had a bit of contact with Van der Merwe. Let's actually go on board. Well, let's go and take a look at what happened there. Between likes of Miller, he is pushing harder and harder. Bernard van der Merwe trying to have a bit of a battle for a 296. And, contact under braking. Nowhere to go. And unfortunately getting speared out a little bit there. And that is definitely going to hurt his pace. So Bernard rejoining the circuit, going and landing up with a bit of a problem. Leroux, though, also having a bit of contact. He's on a hard push, currently lying in 2nd place, trying to open up the gap. And let's see what happened to him. Oh, contact! Contact with Rob van der Heerve. Rob trying to get himself turned around and landed up with Leroux coming into his door and not going to help out there. Leroux will be sustaining a bit of damage and has to now take that into consideration. Tinian Kube is right behind him in the Lamborghini, going and saying, well, better you, not me, and has put on a bit of a fight. Grant Sebastian does pull into the pits, so he's getting himself sorted. Cameron de Bastos moving himself up into 3rd place. Grant Sebastian, though, will be watching the relatives as Cabello Matamai will be going and taking that 4th position away from him at this point. So Mercedes changing position. Grant Sebastian will be keeping an eye on Jason McGregor, who's just pulled into the pits. Eric Kirstein still coming around. Grant hoping to hold that 5th position as it stands. But Kieran Patterson, Leroux, Cameron de Bastos, all needing to do their final pit stops 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and this is going to be a proper charge. Kieran Patterson coming into the pits. He's getting that pit stop done and dusted. LaRue pushing as hard as he can, dropping a wheel on the dirt, being so cautious of just pushing a little bit too hard. Cameron de Bastos still pushing as hard as he can. Will need to get his pit stop done and dusted. Will it be a react to LaRue? Will he push one more lap? He can do one more lap in that car. Otherwise, he's out of time. LaRue comes into the pits to try and go after Kieran Patterson. But will Cameron de Bastos pull into the pits and join this little train to complete it? Will he push one more lap? Nope, he's going to dive into the pits to try and get ahead. He's got Cabello Matsumai trying to close down on him. So Kieran Patterson getting out the box will maintain first place, but needs to get some heat into those tires for the last 2 minutes and 24 seconds. LaRue trying to get himself going. Will be looking to stand on the gas. Cameron de Bastos coming into the pits, needing to get himself out and going once again. Cabello comes across the line, will overtake Cameron de Bastos. Now is on the charge as LaRue loses out. Cabello up into second place, 16 seconds behind Kieran Patterson as it stands. Well, 18 seconds. So, Kieran Patterson, 1 minute and 55 seconds. Got to hold it together on this point if he wants to take it down to the wire. Tyler Humphries dealing with Daniel de Villiers at the moment. Daniel continuously putting a bit of praise on. Cameron de Bastos falling down the order, goes into 6th position as Eric Kirstein and Grant Sebastian get past him. But everyone has done their pit stops and is now on this charge. This is going to be a proper run down to the wire for every single one of the drivers. 1 minute and 20 seconds left of our 55-minute race for round 4 of the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series Season 11 right here at Zolder. And as Paul Fenter said, Zolder is a circuit that will make or break drivers this evening, and I have to fully agree with him on that, as drivers are pushing a little bit harder. They're trying to gain those valuable positions. Jim going and saying that our leader, Kieran Patterson, is on his final lap as it stands. Cabello, who's 18 seconds behind, will either start pushing or start relaxing off the gas at this point, start focusing on maintaining. He's got a 10-second gap to LaRue, so he can't go too much off the throttle, but at this point, looking to try and take away that take a second place. LaRue up into 3rd. Grant Sebastian in 4th place. Eric Kirstein in 5th. Cameron de Bastos in 6th. 7th is Paul Fenter, followed by Tyler Humphries, Daniel de Villiers, Conrad Volskink, Darren Miller, Jason McGregor, Tini and Kube in 13th. 14th is Tienas Buerta, Jared Pretorius in 15th. 16th, Jaco Kutza, Altman Buerta, Mario Sinicol, Bernard van der Merwe, Rob van der Heerwe, rounding out our field tonight. And bear in mind, we do have load shedding here in South Africa, which means we do have a couple of drivers not on the grid this evening due to that, so they have no power. And Kieran Patterson now staring down the wire, will be looking to try and take the checkered flag once again for the PWSR team. Got 3 corners to go. 1, 2, and one more. Short little kink. 3. Kieran Patterson taking the checkered flag for round 4. And what a run it was. Cabello Matsumai taking his way around. Will also be coming around 3 corners, keeping it all stable. Will be taking 2nd place for the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series round 4. He's going to be absolutely ecstatic with that one. And 18 seconds behind Kieran Patterson. Jean LaRue taking 3rd place as he comes across the line. Also going to be rather happy with that. Grant Sebastian getting pressurized from Eric Kirstein right behind him as they fight their way through. Will be taking 4th and 5th. Cameron de Bastos taking 6th. 7th is Paul Fenter. Bit of contact between the likes of Miller and Humphries, and both of them go off. Humphries going off. Miller goes, well, that's Daniel de Villiers who goes off. Conrad Volskink coming across the line. He's quite happy to take 9th position. De Villiers going down the order. But what happened in that final little bit? As we take a look, this is from Humphries' car where they were side by side with Daniel de Villiers. Daniel dives to the inside line, goes over the curb, couldn't see that he was going to make the corner, lands up with a bit of contact, and Humphreys able to get going once again, maintaining that 8th place. Conrad Volskig saying thank you very much, getting past Daniel de Villiers right at the line, final lap to go. But what a race, and what a time out there. My heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Zolder putting on a phenomenal show. Drivers all doing a fantastic job out there. And we have got a driver that I would love to talk to right now, and this is Paul the Pinky Toe Fenter jumping into the commentary box after his run. Really looking forward to Zolder. Paul, how are you feeling after that, and what happened with the first pit stop? You landed up having to do a second pit stop, and I'm guessing that's because the box was just slightly out of line.
No, so, well, I qualified, and then my PC decided to shut everything down. It just said closed down, Discord error, and just absolutely closed everything, restarted the PC, started from pit lane, which sucked. And then, just kind of tested to see how the car would do for tomorrow, and quite happy with that. A little bit of rustiness needed to take care of, but I think we realistically could have been fighting there for P3 in the end. But it was good fun coming from the back, fighting with some unknown guys, not used to fighting with some of them. So yeah, it was good fun, man.
No, it was a proper race. The Mercedes seemed like it was rather great around the circuit. The curbs were a bit easier. The mid-engine seemed to struggle. You were a little bit more comfortable in the Mercedes. A bit of weight on the front. Was that actually helping out over the curbs here at Zolder?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think I feel more comfortable actually in the Ferrari here over the curbs. The Mercedes, the front feels fine. It's the rear that it feels like it's like a bungee cord on the rear. So definitely probably dampers or something that isn't 100%, but yeah, we're just having a bit of fun, and it definitely, when you hit the curb nicely, it does Superman quite properly.
Go and get a little bit of a bounce. So you've got a bit to talk about come through, come Friday, but honestly, great stuff from there. And I do want to point out, Logistical Nightmare Racing and Raceface have been working together for quite some time from the early days. And, Raceface has now hit this milestone of 1,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel tonight at 4 minutes past 9. Yes, I actually did write down the time. Is there anything you would like to say from your part, you being part of the early growth and Logistical Nightmare being the early growth of Raceface?
Yeah, no, look, it's I think that's quite a milestone for anyone to reach that. So yeah, well done to Raceface, and I think as growing pains go and everything happens, you have more people, less people, and Raceface just kind of, it keeps sliding through, and everyone just whenever you're looking for someone, they end up here racing. So always a good spot to be. So yeah, great to be here. But let me jump out and you can chat to the quick boys.
Have fun. Thank you very much, Paul. Great to have you, Paul, the Pinky Toe Fenter, and honestly, great stuff to have him out there, Logistical Nightmare Racing. Well, let's talk to our winner of the race that was in a bit of a heated battle for quite some time, Kieran Patterson of PWSR. Kieran, how are you feeling after that one? It came down to strategy, and knowing Cabello had did his pit stop a little bit earlier, I'm sure a lot was going through the comms for the PWSR team, especially on your side, leading the race after being nose to tail for quite some time.
Yeah, how did it feel? Very wet in the bad sense of sweating. Very fortunate to be very hot in Cape Town. So yeah, very hot in the seat today. But as always, glad to get the win for the team, and big appreciation to the boys for giving as much info as possible to me.
And how was it out on the circuit? Now, we saw a bit of a difference between mid-engines and front engines, some stronger than others, especially around the circuit. What's your take of everything that was going on? Give us a bit of an insight of how you found the circuit, especially out in the McLaren.
Yeah, the McLaren itself is really tough with curbs, being that mid-engine car. I wasn't very comfortable. Every single time you're going through the chicanes, you kind of just cross fingers and hold thumbs that the car is going to come out alive on the other side and not veer off into the wall. But I think it's a lot easier for KB and those front engine cars that can just roll over the curb. I think I lost a lot of time from him in the first chicane itself. So I had to rely on being a lot harder on the throttle on the shorter, quicker corners.
All right, and now that you scored some valuable points for the championship, you've taken multiple first places in a row. What's the game plan heading into round 5? What's the strategy to it? I know this race was a little bit less prepared than what you used to. What do you feel that the game plan is heading into round 5? You've got a bit of spacing in the points to move your way up, but at the same time, you want to keep a little bit of cards in the hand just in case.
Absolutely. It was a bonus to not have the main guys here tonight, Bernard and everyone else that are quite higher up on the standings. So I think, yeah, it was great to get the win and try and boost myself up in the standings there. Going for the next round at round 5, I think it's Hungaro Ring. I'm quite confident with the car there already. It's quite quick. So hopefully we can get a good result there. Ideally a win, obviously, but if we can take a podium and just be consistent, then no complaints.
No, absolutely. And well, this is a bit of a vintage question. PWSR has been around with Raceface, especially in the racing scene and also in the broadcasting scene. But from the racing side, you guys have been here from the early days of Raceface. Hitting the massive mark this evening of 1,000 subscribers, which is monstrous if you think about it, with a niche esport channel dedicated to sim racing. Is there anything you want to say, or how you feel as, I could say, a legacy team that has been with the Raceface name for so many years, and even you walking home with a couple of championships under the belt under Raceface?
Yeah, Raceface has been, it's been a tough place to race, especially coming from SimRace SA side. They were also extremely tough with some of the quickest drivers in the country, and then Raceface kind of grew their own, and they can comfortably tackle all those other guys like Zahir Essa and Bashir Jadwat, and we've seen the likes of Luke Addison and Tariq Adam and even Cody and Jordan Sherritt. So I think Raceface has done really well, and thank you to everyone for hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. It's helped us a lot, and we've grown a lot. Raceface has grown a lot over the years, especially having now, I think, 4 different divisions at a stage in one series with 30 odd cars in it each. So you do the math, that's over 100 drivers, which is great. So thank you to everyone for the support, and thanks to Raceface for having us here throughout.
No, absolutely incredible. And Kieran, thank you very, very much for the kind words, and also well done on the race win here at Zolder. Not an easy thing. And with that being said, we've got your fellow teammate in the car that was also going and having his own race. Also got a little bit shoulder, a little bit boisterous with fellow teammates of Daniel de Villiers and Darren Miller, along with Tyler Humphreys, and that is Cameron Sasquatch de Bastos. So the big Sasquatch himself this time was a little bit more visible. Cameron, how was it out there? You got a little bit of a great start, but it did get hairy at times, going 3 wide into turn 1, turn 2, and especially having to do those great big lunges for the early starts. How are you feeling after that?
Pretty. Very, very warm here. In the Joburg side for the team. Yeah, even with the fan on, it's still very hot and just insane. The racing tonight has been close. Kieran can confirm that tonight in the comms, I communicated that I had 2 punctures on the right side, which was kind of bad. And then Daniel just asked, am I going to race? Am I going to let him through or just race? So that just made things a bit more difficult to handle, you can say. But it's been fun.
Well, the team not having the team orders to let through, it was a proper race down the wire. And I've got to ask from your side. You got to see a little bit of a different aspect. You actually had to avoid a couple of accidents that happened in front of you that were a little bit in frightening bits and pieces where it was blind corners. Take us through at that point where you suddenly got all these cars around you and you're running out of place to go.
Well, the good thing about having the team so far spread out is that if we can get a yellow flag and someone's on the straight or somewhere, you can just always quickly look at the track map. I know I think the majority of the team runs the full track map, and even though Zolder is so short, you can still quickly check what's going on, see where the yellow flags are, and still avoid. It's just being aware what's going on around you, which is the tricky part.
Oh, absolutely, and great positioning for yourself. A bit of a late pit stop did cost you that little bit of time, but still a positive result to walk away from. Well done, Cameron. Anything you would like to say from your part? Any thank yous or challenges that you would like to throw out? I know Kieran is listening very closely, just in case you put a challenge to him.
No, so currently in PWSR, we are just racing to enjoy the season. It's almost the end of the year, so we're all just a lot of us are getting new gear. Daniel's expecting his daughter very soon. So we're all just sitting, relaxing, just racing for fun at this moment. I mean, I jumped into the rig 30 minutes before the race just to get the track, to learn the track again. So, we are hoping to win the team championship. Kieran hoping for the drivers. So I think the only challenge I can really say is for Daniel, just a inter-team fun challenge. You can say we've come a long way, so we go a long way back. Just some fun battles between each other.
All right, and Kieran, I know from your side, is there anything you would like to say, any thank yous or out there's from your side, or any challenges? Remember, keep BG13. I know that you've won the race and adrenaline is flowing, but anything from your side that you would like to shout out?
No challenges whatsoever. I suppose I can say that I comfortably beat Daniel's challenge from last week, so thanks, Dan. But otherwise, no challenges. Happy to just be content with the win, and thanks again to everyone for the support and to the team.
Absolutely awesome. And talking about Daniel de Villiers, Daniel, you're in the box. You're having a bit of fun this time. You weren't watching a racing. You were actually in the race. And turns out it was a race down to the wire, right even to the final corner. Take us through that final lap with Tyler Humphries, where you guys were nose to tail right the way through until a late on the brakes moment did go and change it out. But being so close in a fight like that, to battle it out, take us through of the feeling from a sim racer's perspective, knowing that you're literally sitting with a breath of gap between one another.
Hallo Steven, ja, ek wil net vir die Afrikaans man ook bietjie iets gee om te luister. And I'm just joking.
You're more than welcome to. If you're comfortable.
This track is very narrow and hard to follow, my honest opinion. Especially with this Porsche. I've got much to learn for the setup for this track, so I still need adjustments to do. But yeah, it's difficult, and just that final lap, I had to do something. I had to send it anything. I had to try to gain a position, and Tyler is just so good. He is aware. His awareness is 100% and everything, and he knows where to park the car at the right spot. So, and he knows where to make up time where I lose time. So that last lap, I had to do something. I had to gain the Hitman name back, man.
Well,
so well done to him. He did well. That's good racing.
Yeah, you did very, very well. And even having a battle with your teammate Miller, you two were also going and getting a little bit of elbows out with one another in the beginning parts of the race. Was there any worry of, that you're costing time? Or was it just, you're a competitor, I'm a competitor, we're going to cross this line?
I think for Darren, I lost it at the one corner. I'm not sure. I think it was turn 3. I lost the rear a bit, and then I came in contact with him. But I think we understood each other that we are going to pull each other along to catch up with the pack and keep the momentum there going.
Fair enough. You know, when you're pulling the pack, you don't sit side by side, eh?
We just had to check if there's damage on each other's car.
Okay, just sorting out each other's wing mirrors. And yeah, rounding before we let you go, is there anything you would like to say? Any challenges or thank yous from your side?
Yeah, I want to say thank you for Mike McGear for fixing the pedals on such short notice, and to Josh for the new mods and everything he's printing today and all that stuff for the pedals, so I can improve my racing. I just want to say thank you to them, and to my teammates for giving me an awesome race.
Okay, so we've got a bit of R&D development going on. Very, very interesting. And our final interview of the evening is going to be the Angry Racing driver himself that went and had a great bit of fun. Tyler Humphreys. Tyler, well done on a stellar defensive race. You were constantly pressurized in between teammates, but you were able to keep it going. How are you feeling after that very tense situation of knowing that you've got a teammate in front of you, a teammate behind you, and you're having to be a little bit of a brick wall to try and battle your way through?
Yeah, good evening. It was interesting, very fun, very difficult. Yeah, Daniel had the pace. I say Daniel and I, we were pretty well matched on pace, but obviously I made a small little mistake going over the chicanes, and he got past me. But after that, I was just trying to keep up with Daniel because I knew if the only way I was going to get past him was in the pits, and I managed to do that, just power through to the line on the pits, and yeah, I just managed to put on the clamps a little bit later than him going into the pits, and I came out in front of him.
Well, I mean, with the racing out there, you had to really get into the fight. Now, coming from all the other sim racing that you have done over the course of the year, how does it feel to be in the GT3 car out on the Raceface grid, getting to go door to door with the drivers, and also, yes, a little bit of touring car action where there is a little bit of rubs and bumps and a couple of scratches, but all in all, some great pace being put out there. What's your thoughts from Angry Racing side? Because you guys do driver coaching. You've got champions within the team itself in real life, and you're getting to verse it out against champions out on the circuit as well.
No, yeah, it's great. It's honestly so much fun. It's really cool. Every Wednesday and Thursday, pull up to driver's briefing. You're like, right, let's have some fun. You know, it's really good. Great spirits. I love it.
Absolutely tremendous stuff. And before I let you go, and before we let our amazing spectators go, is there anything you would like to say out to everyone? A challenge, a thank you, all of it. Microphone's yours. Remember, PG-13, so just keep it clean. But microphone is yours.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to my teammate Dwayne. He was in the call with me tonight, but unfortunately he couldn't race. So Dwayne, thank you for spotting. Thank you for all the information, and thank you Angry Racing for just believing in us and what we're trying to achieve in the sim. And well done everyone on track, and let's keep racing.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you have heard it from the PWSR team and also our Angry Racing team driver, Tyler Humphreys, Kieran Patterson, Daniel de Villiers, Cameron de Bastos. Congratulations once again to Kieran Patterson on the win. Cabello Matsmai on that second place. Really, really well done. LaRue taking third. But a big thank you goes out to you spectators, the drivers, the families, the friends, all tuning in and week out, and also getting us to this massive milestone of 1,000 subscribers from 2018 till 2023 in a niche sport, a niche race. It's been to you guys, so thank you so much from my side. Finally got that Christmas wish. Santa came early, and now the big man can go and get some cookies and cream and be sorted out for it. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, like always, we'll see you next week for some racing for the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series Round 5. But tomorrow night, we will be having our GT3 series going out. 1 hour and 20-minute racing, 2 mandatory pit stops. You don't want to miss this, as the racing is going to come in fast, fierce, And as we heard, some R&D being done on a couple of the cars as well, not only in setup, but also working on the rigs themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from myself, and a massive shout out to the entire Raceface team. From myself, Stephen Koenig, I'd like to wish you all, and like always, get to say it again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.